Welcome back to IowaWorks. We are joined by Cassandra Halls with two of the top career advancement strategies. Cassandra has been working with our career makeover panelists, and she's been working on resumes. Why is a resume so important, Cassie?
Rob, a resume is so important because essentially it's your commercial. When you're putting yourself out there and you're looking for employment opportunities, it's really the true introduction that an employer gets of your skills and abilities. So even if you're creating your own opportunities through networking or through other events, the first thing a person is going to ask you for is your resume.
So what makes a good resume?
The most important things that you can put on your resume are to focus on challenges that you faced within your career, action that you've taken, and what the result was. So many people, so many times, focus on the tasks that they actually completed in their career as opposed to what the outcomes were. And employers, while it's good to understand and have a good basis of what your experience is, they really want to know how you were successful.
I know there are several different ways to format a resume. What would you suggest?
Well, honestly, it really depends on the person and the types of opportunities that they're pursuing. There's three standard formats that folks normally use: a chronological resume, which reviews a person's career history in the order in which they've held those positions. There's a functional type of resume, which focuses on skills and abilities, and that's a really great style for a career transitioner, someone who's looking at maybe moving to another industry or a different type of position to use. And then there's a style that's combined, so it takes the best features of a chronological resume and the skills and abilities and puts them all together. But a really important thing about formatting is when people work on their resumes, they have a tendency to find one model, and that's what they follow. And so many resumes all look alike. And what I always encourage people to do is spend some time at Iowa Workforce Development or spend some time at the library and use resources to find different ways that you can put the information on your resume and differentiate yourself, make yourself look unique and new and flashy.
And then really take the pride in the resume that you have.
That's the biggest mistake.
Confidence.
Absolutely. That's the biggest mistake that I see people make when they put their resume together, is they really sell themselves short. They don't, it's hard to brag about ourselves when we, especially on paper. And
Iowans. We're not good at that as Iowans. We don't brag about ourselves much.
So trying to put that on paper, when I work with individuals, that's the biggest thing I hear, is that it's just the hardest thing to do. So make sure you give yourself credit for all of the work that you've done.
So what if I've had a number of jobs and lots of experience? How many pages should my resume be?
Honestly, again, you have to prioritize the information that you put on your resume. So depending on the situation and the style that you use, a chronological resume tends to be 2 pages, and a functional resume tends to be one page. But you need to put the most important information that's pertinent to the position you're applying for on the resume.
So I should tailor the resume to the job I want.
Absolutely. We all have experiences that are very broad and diverse, but some of those experiences may not apply to the positions that we're seeking. So you have to categorize the information that you have in your history and then put the most important information on the paper.
So what do you do when you have a gap in employment? How do you deal with that on a resume?
Well, you have to be honest, first of all. You don't, a lot of times people will use years as opposed to month and date when they're spelling out their chronological history. And especially now in a market like today where so many people have been outplaced from their positions due to no fault of their own, that's something that you can simply state on your resume. You know, position eliminated due to downturn in the economy. But either putting things in order if you've pursued an entrepreneurial venture, if you took some time off. Another great way to explain a gap is through using your cover letter and explaining it within your cover letter.
What about references? Sometimes I see references, resumes with 3 references on. Sometimes I see them with no references, available on request. What do you recommend?
The comment of references available upon request has gone away. It's not something that we recommend anymore at all.
Wow.
When it comes to being competitive in the market, I recommend that folks automatically submit their references as part of the resume package. So you have your cover letter, your resume, and your references all together. Because the fact of the matter is, if it comes down to you and another candidate, if you've got your references that I could call and say, tell me a little bit about Rob Denson, then I've got the information there to help me make the decision as to who I should bring in an interview. 3 to 5 references are what we recommend, and definitely include people that you reported to. So HR managers really want people that can give good feedback on your performance, and including coworkers is nice, but they can't really qualify your experience.
So how important is it for me to include a reference on the job I just left?
Very important. Very important. You know, obviously, again, referring back to the outplacement, because you may have been taken from your position and it wasn't an issue of your performance, you know, more managers are willing to provide positive information. But, you know, people that are credible and can really summarize how well and how you succeeded and how you applied yourself to tasks are going to be critical.
How truthful should I be?
Absolutely truthful. Again, I think that goes back to really giving yourself credit for the work that you've done. If you have to turn challenging situations into positive situations, and sometimes the most challenging situations are the ones that give you the best explanations of your experience.
Cassie, would you suggest that job seekers list salary information on their resume?
With salary information, you should only include it when you're actually requested to include it. It's a really kind of touchy situation in being able to gauge how employers are seeking positions, and with folks in positions that they are today, a lot of people are willing to make concessions. So if you include a higher salary than a position that you're applying for, then sometimes it's a little bit confusing.
That's a very important point. Cassie, thank you for joining us today, and we'll be right back.